We have a question, Greg. Um, Scratch cooking is difficult when working with many different languages in a kitchen. What can you do in this situation?
Well, what I've always done is, since I'm not really good at Spanish, and I've employed almost all Spanish cooks the last 30 years, um, I would work right next to them, going over how I want the food made one time, depending on their skill set. If they're new in the kitchen, then more than once, and then I would let them make that same dish with me, just kind of looking over their shoulder while I did other things, and then the third time leaving them alone. And then a key part is to constantly taste the food that they make and look at it, because it's human nature to start to change food in the kitchen towards what the cook thinks it should be. It's almost subconscious. Often they don't even mean it. So once they know how to make the dish, leaving them alone, but always going back and tasting it and checking it and telling them when it's not the way you want it to be. That's what I do. Our next recipe is chicken Caesar salad. Jerry?
Well, we look at this for cost. If you can get your hands on chicken meat, uh, cheese can be commodity. But if not, you can even eliminate the chicken completely and make this into another meatless salad. You wouldn't call it chicken Caesar salad. We'd call it just Caesar salad. But to replace the meat, we'd add tofu, asparagus, cooked beans, and that would help with our fat and with the cost.
And the eggs are a protein, so we have a lot of protein in this salad. We can easily cut the chicken way back or eliminate it and still hit the protein requirements depending on how much egg we put on this salad. There's our ingredients. We don't have the chicken pictured there, and Hellman's, of course, is expensive, and I just happen to use it for the photo shoot. And here we mix all the liquids together for the dressing. We've already washed the romaine lettuce in immersed in cold water after we chopped it. You can wash it immersed in cold water before or after you cut it. If you're gonna wash it still whole, you still want to cut the bud off to separate the leaves. And then there's our finished salad again. Kids eat with their eyes just like adults do, and so we want the food to look good. And another thing I would consider doing with the chef volunteers or parent volunteers is, if you're going to introduce new food to the kids that you and I may think is healthier, but they are going to maybe squirm a little bit, you could get the volunteers into the classroom the week before you're going to present it to talk about, for example, if it was this dish, to talk about chicken, where it comes from, to talk about tomatoes, where they came from, what a tomato is, talk about Swiss cheese, talk about romaine lettuce, and introduce the ingredients to them in class. You don't need the whole class period. This is 5 minutes of class. And then when they come down to the cafeteria, they've heard about this food. They've heard a little bit of the history about it. They're not afraid of it anymore. And then there it is in front of them. I found that works really well when I was doing the Grow, Teach, Feed in Chicago Public Schools. And now,
We have a question, Greg.
okay.
I'm getting a lot of pressure from parents and they don't seem to understand the complexities of running a kitchen. Can you talk about what to do in this situation?
Yeah, the parents around America, I mean, there's articles all the time. Articles in the New York Times, at least one a week, Chicago Tribune, one a week, probably all the local papers in America. Parents are like standing up saying we want better food. And they don't know a lot about the way the system works. They don't know the commodity system in general. They have no idea what the budget is that you people are working with. They have no idea the labor restrictions you have to run your kitchen. I mean, I recently heard of a woman, I think in Minnesota, that's, she's feeding 400 kids or 1,000 kids alone. Now I forget, but it was like some unbelievable amount. So the first thing I do with parents is I teach them about how the system works so they can really get grounded in the current reality. Often when they don't know that and they just want better food for their kids, it's hard to talk to them because they just want to change something. They have no idea what they're talking about. Once they understand the current system, and if they're open to it, even talking to them a little bit about the history of the National Lunch Program would even be beneficial. You might not have all that time. And then creating a vision, which I'm going to be talking about next week on the webinars, how to create a vision, a 5-year vision, a 3-year vision with parents and administration around food. And once you create a vision on where you want to head with the food, figuring out how the parents can help. I would use parents in the kitchen chopping vegetables. I would have them doing chef demos. They're not all chefs, but food demonstrations to explain the new food that the kids are about to see in the cafeteria. I would use the parents a lot in the garden, installing the garden, keeping the garden up. I mean, there's 10 gardens out there right now in Chicago being kept up by parents. So there's a whole lot parents can do to affect change, but it's critical that they respect you and your work and the history that you're working with first. So America is divided up into 8 growing regions, and those are up in front of you. Today we're going to talk about Region 6, which is Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona, where the star is on the map. When food is grown locally and used locally, its flavor it has more flavor because it's traveled less distances, and it's probably more affordable for the same reason. So in this example, broccoli's in season in November. Broccoli could easily be used in all 3 of the recipes we showed you today. You buy it, you cut it, and you blanch it, or you tell your food vendor, your produce vendor, to find you local broccoli in November, and you tell them how much you want to spend on that. So there's not really any reason that it should cost more money, especially if you put the onus on your vendor, because you're getting pressure, and if you're not getting it yet, you will be soon, for this local food movement, and you need your vendors engaged in helping you solve this because you're all real busy. Cabbage in season from June to September. You can easily use cabbage in that chicken cacciatore recipe. It's not a classic ingredient. Who cares? It's cheap, it's easy to cut up, and it goes a long way. Carrots, again, available in the fall when they're in season. They're the most affordable. And if you don't have the manpower to chop it, the skill set to chop it, the machinery to chop it, start to try to find the machines you need to run your kitchen efficiently. But if you don't have any of that, then you tell your vendor you want local carrots, you want them chopped up, you want 20-pound frozen boxes, and put the onus on them. So I invite you to figure out where the local food is, to push your vendors to find it, and to get it into your recipes. And what we talked about today was our current food system and its impact on the environment and health, why healthy cooking is needed in school. And really, to me, the reason is that the parents need help now. This epidemic is out of control, and more onus is going to be put on you folks. And so I want to help you win at that. We've looked at some recipes, and we talked briefly about local food.
Thanks, Greg. Greg is going to be in Nashville with FWE at the annual nutrition conference in July, conducting food demos at their booth. If any of you go, please stop by booth 317 to say hello and let us know what other webinar topics you would like to view. OSB is also going to be raffling off a Grow Teach Feed collection that contains all of the recipes shown today and more. So bring your business card. Be sure to take a look at FWE's wide variety of food service equipment as well. They will be raffling off a full-size Climate IQ heated and humidified holding cabinet at the conference.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for giving us a half an hour of your time. We would also like to thank our sponsor for this webinar, FWE, who manufacture quality food service equipment such as holding cabinets and reed therm ovens. A recording of the webinar will be available on their website. Organic School Project's Grow Teach Feed collection is now available. Please visit our website or email us for more information. The feed volume contains over 200 recipes, including the ones featured today, and a section on how to buy local and get that local food into your recipes. If you would like the recipes featured today or any throughout the webinar series, please email the Organic School Project or FWE. And please don't forget to take our survey. Your opinion is very important to us and will help us improve our offerings. Thanks again.